Howdy folks, welcome back to Boondockery. Today I'm going to do my first ever unboxing video. And what I'm going to be unboxing is the Snugpak Special Forces Sleep System. Now before I get to the unboxing, there's a backstory. I always have a backstory. And if you're one of those very impatient types that you just want to get to the meat of the matter, that's fine. Go ahead and just fast forward through all of this backstory information, which some of it's pretty good stuff. You might want to stick around for it. But anyway, you fast forward until you see me opening that box, and then you can go ahead and push play again. But for those of you that want to tough it out and hear this backstory, here it goes. Apart from the military, I really jumped straight from the military way of doing any type of camping. When I first got out, I used my poncho liner, I used my shelter halves, I used my poncho, things like that, and whatever stuff I had. I had my intermediate, my extreme cold weather sleeping bag. So everything that I camped with at that time was all military stuff, and I did it in the way that I was trained in the military. And then I transitioned from that and I got into historical reenacting. So at that point, which you guys will probably see here within the next several months, I'm going to pull out some of my old stuff and do it the old school way. But it was, I reenacted French and Indian War, which is 1750s, and I used only what they had available to them. So I had a wool blanket. Every once in a while we had a canvas tarp, but rarely. And so I spent about 20 years camping like that. And after I had kids, I started getting older. Well, I did the whole family camping thing. Had a great big 8-person tent, had all the Coleman lanterns, Coleman stoves. I had cots for everyone, all kinds of great sleeping bags and things like that. So it is definitely the family camping. You fill that vehicle up, you pack it in like reverse Jenga, and then you play Jenga, getting everything out and setting everything up, which takes a long time. And you put in your weekend and you tear it all down and you load it back up and you bring it back home and you put it back into storage until the next time. So I did the family camping thing. 18th century style camping and family camping. Well, when a group of my friends wanted to do this modern camping, bushcrafting, wild camping type of stuff, I had picked up a few newer things that were surplus because that's where I'm rooted. I'm rooted in the military. And I picked up a Molly 2 backpack system. I picked up I didn't pick it up. It was a wonderful, very kind gift from my brother Jamie Booth. Gave me a United States Army sleep system. And that comprises of an intermediate bag, extreme cold weather bag, the Gore-Tex bivy cover, and the compression bag. And with my first outing, it was in winter, and we hiked 3 miles through some really treacherous terrain, and I slept in a rock shelter. I knew that's where I was going to be sleeping because I'd already scouted the area out. Everybody else at that time, they had already purchased hammocks, they had tarps, they had the whole thing. They were way ahead of me. And so I went ahead and I used what I had, and I had a fantastic night's sleep. Now, as you know, the Molly 2 backpack and the military sleep system is incredibly heavy. Very robust, very well made, and it does what it does, but it's very, very heavy and bulky. That's what I had, and it worked absolutely fantastic. Now, as the years went by, I tried different things that other of my friends had introduced. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. I bought a few things that, in hindsight, I wish, I probably hadn't have bought it, but there it was. And as time went by, I really liked the idea of that sleep system. And I didn't really like the idea of the weight. And so I started looking everywhere for different types of sleep systems. And I found Wiggies. And Wiggies have been producing really high quality sleeping bags for a long time. And the reason I was really looking toward Wiggies initially is because my brother John Walsh, he and his entire platoon, when he was in the Marine Corps and they were in Norway, they ordered straight from Wiggies one of their extreme cold weather bags. Everyone got them. They absolutely loved them. And I figured, well, hey, if I'm going to do winter camping, and I already know someone that said that, you know, the Wiggies bags were the bomb, I went ahead and looked there. And they did have a pseudo sleep system. They didn't have anything with a Gore-Tex bivy cover or anything, but they had the same type of system going on as the United States military sleep system, because it's a bag and a bag, an intermediate bag and extreme cold weather bag. You combine the two together and you're set for well below zero. And lo and behold, they just happen to have my favorite color in stock, and of course at a substantially higher cost, multicam. And I said, wow, this is absolutely fantastic. Then I realized that everything was on sale. I was like, yes, yes, yes. Not only am I going to get this really awesome sleep system in multicam, which is my favorite color, but I'm also going to get it at a fantastic discount. I ordered it and it was fantastic. And when it showed up, I was sort of taken aback. I didn't remember ordering a portable garage, but these boxes were there and they were huge. I mean, these boxes were absolutely ginormous. And I'm thinking, oh, well, there must be all kinds of packing and everything else in there. And I opened it up and I slid them out. And the intermediate bag was every bit as big in the compression bag as the entire U.S. military sleep system. And I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And then I took out the extreme cold weather bag and it was even bigger. I mean, a whole lot bigger. And so I'm thinking, oh, well, I mean, it's just, you know, it's packed in there. It's probably rolled up and things like that. And, you know, it's not really compressed. So I took everything out, shoved it all back down in there really good and tight. And then I compressed it all. And it didn't change things at all. This thing was huge. And both bags were separate. So when I pulled them out and I slid the one inside the other, just to see how it was going to be, there was no bag to put it in. Literally, one of my largest backpacks, I stuffed it in there and it filled the main compartment. Completely impractical for any type of backpacking. But I got it on a great sale price and I figured, what the hey, I'll just go ahead and use it when I go car camping, which wasn't very frequently. Well, as the years went by, it just didn't get used, especially the more and more I got into wild camping and bushcrafting, things like that. I just really didn't car camp that much anymore at all. So I wound up selling it at a swap meet, and, you know, I got it a great deal. I went ahead, paid it forward, and I let it go for a lot less when I paid for it. But the person that bought it, all they do is car camping. They have their truck, have their camper top on there. That's all they're going to use it for. And so it was a good deal all the way around. I got a little bit out of it, and they got a great sleeping bag system that they're going to be able to use year round. Well, brings me up to very recently. I have big plans for this winter. I want to go to my secret fun spot, which if you've seen any of my secret fun spot videos, you know that this place is just absolutely out of this world. There are rock shelters everywhere. Anything to amphitheater size to little individual nooks to where one person can get back in there, have a little fire, and be completely protected from the elements. And so the idea of having that sleep system to where all I need to do is one thing: roll it out, set it up, no tents, no tarps, nothing. Just lay it out, sleep on the leaves that's been blown in there, or I can gather up some leaves and put it in there, just for a little bit of insulation. And it's going to make things so much easier. So I started playing with this idea, and I I didn't want to go the route of the U.S. military sleep system again. It's just too bulky, and it's too heavy. It's around 9 pounds. So I was looking around, and I just happened to look on a website that was selling all kinds of sleep bags, and they had a Snugpak Special Forces sleep system. Okay, cool, I'll bite. So I started looking at it, and the website I was looking at, it was pretty pricey. It was well over $750, and I said, wow, I don't know. And I was looking at it, and I was like, I was looking at the weights, and the weights were looking pretty good. And I know that a lot of Snugpak's products, one of the things that they're famous for is their types of insulation that they use, that it compresses down pretty small. And so a small package, warmth, versatility, being able to use individual components of that sleep system at different times of the year is very appealing to me. And especially if I'm going to continue to go back to the secret fun spot and sleep in these rock shelters. And so I started looking around for the best prices I could, and I happened to find on Amazon, I have Amazon Prime, so free shipping there. It was a Prime item. They had the Snugpak Special Forces sleep system. And when I looked at the colors, that's right, they had multicam. And I look at the price and I'm like, this was $150 off retail. And I'm like, that makes it much more desirable to me. So I'm looking at it, and then I happen to look over, and in red letters, only one left in stock. So then my piqued interest that had almost developed into a giddiness rapidly turned into anxiety and fear. And I'm like, oh, should I do this? Should I do this? It's so much money. I mean, oh gosh, it's just, and what if it winds up being like the Wiggy's bag? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Well, I did it. I did it. I looked at it, and they have like the payment method. I forget how many payments, real low prices, and it's something I could definitely do. And so I went ahead and clicked add to cart, proceed to checkout, and that's exactly what I did. When I got the box delivered to my doorstep, I looked at it, I'm like, it looks pretty big, but the box was still a little bit smaller than the small box from the Wiggy set. And so I brought it into the kitchen. I took out my knife, I very carefully opened up the package, cut the tape, opened it up, and I wasn't happy. And at that moment, I knew, you know what, John? This could be a good video. And just so happens, with all this crazy that's going on this holiday season, I happen to get about 2 or 3 hours today to where I am obligated to no one for anything but me. So here I am, folks. Now, let's go open that box and see what's in it. Okay, folks, here it goes. Like I said, I opened this box, and I didn't like what I saw. What I saw was this. a desert tan bivy bag, or excuse me, compression bag. And I'm like, oh no, they sent me the wrong one. I ordered multicam. And so I opened her up just a little, and I took out the first thing that was at the top. Another compression bag that was desert tan. Not even coyote, desert. I don't live in an arid area. There's no sand around here. Well, there's sand in a creek bed, but it's not like the sand of the desert. And I opened this up. Look at it. Look at this. Look how tan it is. It's tan. But then I turned it around and I opened it up. And look. It's multicam. So, as soon as I saw this, not being pleased, in case you haven't realized by now, if you've been watching my videos a lot, I'm very persnickety about my gear. And when I did my review on the ILBE, I pointed out that when you put a solid color webbing on a camouflage pack, it completely destroys the camouflage aspect of it. And so I wanted a camouflage sleep system, not camouflage. So what I did, as soon as I saw this, got the idea, okay, do an unboxing video, John. Don't waste this opportunity. I went ahead and contacted Snugpak in England. And within 2 hours, they got back with me. And what I asked them is if this was like a standard thing, if by any chance I could either exchange or purchase compression bags for my sleep system that were multicam. And they replied back and said that unfortunately they don't make multicam compression bags. And the reason being is that they have a problem sourcing the fabric in multicam that they make their compression bags out of. And so I was a little disappointed, to say the least. And so immediately I went as well, I can't get it from them. So I started doing a search for multicam compression bags. Virtually non-existent. And a lot of the ones that are out there, closer inspection, the beige dots, the light dots that are on their multicam were white. It's like, no, that's not multicam. And so I looked for MTP, OCP, any variations of multicam. None to be found. So I'm stuck with what I've got for now. And if I can find the fabric, I'm going to probably attempt to do my own compression bags. And because I know I can get a hold of the multicam webbing, coyote brown, coyote tan, buckles, the hardware, everything else. So that right there is for further down the road. But the first thing that's in the set that came out of the big compression bag is the Special Forces 1 sleeping bag. So that's the first thing that's there. I haven't seen what else is in here yet. And I certainly hope that I got everything that I'm supposed to. Okay, this smaller thing here, it's not labeled. Oh, there it is. Special Forces Zip Baffle. And you'll see what that does here in a second. And having purchased this from Amazon and not really having the time to do the research that I should have done before I purchased it, I didn't realize that the Baffle is only produced for the supplied with the sleep system in desert tan. Their reasoning is that is the color of the liner of the sleeping bag, so that's why they used it. So needless to say, I don't like this color. and I will probably be purchasing one of their olive baffles. That's just me. I'm persnickety. So we have the Special Forces 1 sleeping bag. We have the Baffle system, which I'll demo that here in a few minutes. And we have a large compression bag that is supposed to house everything, and everything else has its own storage bag. And this is the Special Forces 2 sleeping bag. Now, as you can tell, this and this are very small. They're very compact, which I'm very, very pleased with. So the compactability right off the bat has me pleased. And everything gets its own compression bag. So if you want to use these individually, you can, and have a bag specifically designed for it. This larger bag, well, is supposed to be designed to house everything with it. And there is nothing else in the large compression bag, nothing else left in the plastic bag. So that's everything that came with the system. There is also a Special Forces waterproof bivy that they manufacture, which would be the coup de grace of this particular sleep system. I looked on their website. They do not produce one in multicam. At one time, they produced this whole system in ATAX, and they also had an ATAX bivy cover. They no longer produce that. And I do not know, I'd have to look, but I'm for some reason I'm thinking that I saw a picture online of the compression bags actually being in ATAX. I may be incorrect in that. I did a lot of research in a very short period of time for the video. This is it. And the colors that they do have available are, you know, I probably would go with the olive if I were to get it. But the price, it's fairly high. I checked online and I can get a Coyote USMC bivy cover, brand new, but with a tear in the face netting, which is no problem for me. I've got tons of extra netting at the house, so I could do any repairs for that. And it was only $120. And so I might go a different route other than with Snugpak. Snugpak's olive color is a little dark, which is, you know, great for the UK. It's great for a lot of Europe, but for my neck of the woods, it's just a little dark. But if you know, if that's the only choice I have, I would much prefer that over desert tan. So there we have it. These are the items that came in the system. Let's go ahead, open them up, and check them out. Yeah, before I start breaking everything out, I just wanted to show everyone how the desert tan looks on our winter foliage that's on the ground here. And as you can see, Coyote probably would have been a much better color for these, and I'm a huge fan of Coyote now. Back before they started making olive way too dark for everything, olive, or like true olive drab, which was, you know, used in World War II. That's some people call it khaki drab, but olive drab blended in really well for the spring and summer months. And you know, Coyote, in my humble opinion, is an absolutely fantastic color for either fall or winter ground covering. Anyway, that's what she looks like. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start off by opening up the Special Forces 1. And they don't, first impressions, they don't give you a whole lot of extra webbing to get that cinched up. I'd say a couple more inches would have been a little nicer. Now, from everything I've seen online, Special or Snugpak's videos, they say that they ship all of their packs rolled. So of course everything's going to fit very, very differently when you just shove it in there. They even have a video on how to stuff your sleeping bag into the compression bag. This is super tight. I have no idea how they got this thing in there. It's really in there. Hopefully, when you're just shoving in there, it's going to go in a whole lot faster and easier. Get this out of the way. So, first inspection, the multicam is spot on. And their insulation, which I'll tell you a little bit more about the insulation here in a minute. This is not going to be a review. This is just a unboxing video. Just give her a good fluffing. This is incredibly lightweight. The fluff up here, it was very compressed in that bag. Okay. Now it appears they have a desert tan zip here, right here at the collar, at the opening, and it is desert tan line. There is a section of Velcro, which is nice. That will lock in your cord so it doesn't accidentally unzip. Let's go ahead and open her up. Now, years ago, when I first started getting into wild camping, bushcrafting, things like that, one of the big complaints that was pretty common about Snugpak's sleeping bags were their zippers. They had problems with the zippers failing, getting snagged, and things like that. And again, that was about 10 years ago when I first started looking at it. Got a little snag there, and it's a two-way zip. So if by any chance you're using just this bag and you need to get up out of your sleep, you can go ahead and open up the bottom, get your legs out, have this still up around your body, up on your head, and you can walk over to relieve yourself in the middle of the night if you're freezing cold. This is the Special Forces 1, which is the lighter weight one. So far, I think the zipper is outstanding. I had one little snag. Look at that. That's good. So if any of the complaints about their zippers were valid back in the day, they most certainly are not now. Now, one thing I noticed when I opened it up from down here, there is a heavier foot box reinforcement in the bottom of the bag. And I know that from what I've read, this is designed specifically for you to be able, for the military, to actually wear your boots in the bag. And so this is reinforced. It's a little bit different fabric. It's a little heavier than the other lining. So that's an interesting feature. And of course, all of these white labels, those are going to go bye-bye. Yeah, so far this is great. It is super lightweight. I watched a video, and I cannot remember who produced it, and they were reviewing this particular bag, the Special Forces, Snugpak Special Forces 1. And their description of it, after they fluffed it up, they were hefting it around like this, they said, it's as light as a fart. I have never heard that phrase before, but I guess depending on what you ate, perhaps it is as light as a fart. But I don't know how you measure the weight of Flatus, but you know, we'll just go with it. Now, also up at the top, you have a bungee that cinches up around your head and face. That looks like it's going pretty good. And I like that it is not here, it's off to the side, so it's not going to interfere with your zipping or unzipping to be able to get in and out, so you don't have to monkey with that if you're going to be getting out of it. And they also have inside a nice little baffle on the inside of the zip, so you don't have to worry about the cold air drafting through the zipper. And it's substantial. That is easily 4.5, maybe even 5 inches wide to protect that draft. So that's outstanding. Okay, that is the Special Forces 1. Let's look at the Special Forces 2. And again, look, this is pretty snug. I mean, that's pretty compacted, and not a whole lot of webbing left to be able to cinch that up. And that feels like it's packed in just the same way as a smaller one. So I might be wrestling with this for a little bit. Try pulling her down a little bit first. Get more purchase that way. There is on both of the compression bags a nice little handle to be able to grab and pull. Well, that came out a lot easier. So we'll put that off the side here. Again, multicam fabric, spot on, outstanding. This is substantially heavier, at least twice the felt weight than the Forces 1. Again, you have the 2-direction zipper and the reinforced toe box. I did notice on the Special Forces 1 that there are 2 loops, so you can suspend your sleeping bag when you're not using it to keep the loft in, and also if it's damp you can dry it out that way. That's good. Another keeper up here at the top, Velcro. Keep that zipper from coming undone when you don't want it to. And again, the bungee cinching around the head is on the side. And on this one, there is a full wraparound with Velcro collar. And if you don't want to use it, the Velcro, the hook section has its own little keeper so you don't scratch yourself, won't be an abrasion. Goes all the way around the neck. That's fantastic. Keep all that heat inside from the neck down, and you still have all the insulation of the hood up on top. That's great. And the collar section has its own cinch system through here to be able to tighten it up and hold it into position. That's excellent. I think that the cord lock on the exterior right here and this cord lock for the interior, they're pretty standard. They're not exactly heavy duty. I don't think this particular one's going to fail. The ones that are on the compression bags, those are a very standard design too, and this one here doesn't particularly impress me with how it's made, but as long as you're not overly abusive to them, I think they should work fine. This one here, like I said, it's a good bit heavier, but I think because of the compression bag and the way they had it packed, there doesn't appear to be a whole lot of compression to the loft in comparison to the Forces 1. Now, the last thing we're going to look at is the baffle. And again, desert tan. And I'm going to install this baffle here in just a minute, and so everyone can see how these go together. It goes the entire length of the zipper, and it is also a two-way zip. So therefore, when you want to get out, you can unzip the bottom or the top. So they were consistent in that. Well, this is the whole shawarma, all of this stuff. Now let's put it together and see how it looks. Now before I put these things together, I'm going to go ahead and try them on. I want to go ahead and get inside each one and just to see how much room is in there, how it fits, get a feel for the installation. I'm really going to need to loft up this Special Forces 1 a good bit, and this goes against my nature to put boots inside a sleeping bag. Even when I was in the military, I had my boots in the bag with me, but I wasn't wearing them. Okay, now there's a zip pull on the inside as well as the out, so that's good. Okay, I'm already feeling the warmth of this, and this is the Light Fighter 1. Now, I'm not a particularly large individual, but there's not a whole lot of room in here. I don't feel compressed, but if someone was a good bit larger than me, in diameter anyway, this might be form-fitting at best. But, the interior lining feels fantastic. Being able to manipulate the zipper, and let's try the zip lock. Okay, it can be manipulated pretty well. There's just enough room for me to get my elbows up to where I can cinch down the opening here. Really got to pull it. Oh, this is excellent. This is good. This is good. I like this. And look at this. That's nice. Not something that you can do, or at least do easily, with a marginal zipper. So the zipper issue that I had heard about years ago is not an issue now. Excellent. So Special Forces 1 fits fine. It's actually fairly warm. It's about 37 here today, but with the sun beating on me, it feels a lot warmer. Let's go ahead and try out the Special Forces 2. The toe box. It's very long for me because my feet are at the bottom, and again, not a whole lot of width here. So if you're very broad-shouldered, broad-chested, this might be a little rough to get in and out of. Okay. Now I easily have another foot of length above my head.
So that's absolutely fantastic because I like to sleep with my clothes inside my bag. I usually put them at the toe, and that's usually where I also put my my boots to keep them warm, keep them from freezing. And even if I have to put them inside of a waterproof bag, if they're damp or muddy, I like to keep them in my bag so that way they're not frozen when I put them on the next morning. So there's plenty of room in the toe. I'm not going to have an issue with the width, but I think someone a little broader than me, this would be too small. And I'm going to fasten up the neck baffle. I'm going to cinch that down. It doesn't cinch very easily. Not like the exterior does. Wow. This is very nice and warm. I'll tell you the comfort and the low ratings here in a few minutes when I wrap this up. Give you all the specs, all the pertinent specs before an actual proper review. Oh yeah. And again, the zip comes down easily. If you need to get out in a hurry, you can do so. Oh, here we go. We'll demo this. Like I said, if you're freezing cold and you need to relieve yourself, I'm certain this is not what it was designed for. Pull it up. Grab it there, get up, get that out of your way, take care of business, come back, lay down, get back in, zip it down, and you're good to go. Okay, first impressions are good. Now we're going to go ahead and install the baffle. And from what I saw online, the Special Forces 2 will actually go inside the Special Forces 1. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up close so you can see how I put the baffle on, and then we'll try out again. Now I'm going to go ahead and install the baffle. I believe earlier I mentioned that the heavy bag, this Special Forces 2, goes inside the Special Forces 1. I was mistaken with that. I was thinking about the Wiggy system, which it seems backwards because even with the US sleep system, the lighter bag goes inside the heavier bag, as does the Snugpak. Now, at the bottom of the sleeping bag, you have the two zips, and that's going to come all the way out. So you're going to pull that out, just like you have a zipper on your coat, comes undone. I want to do that on both. And since the inner bag is needing to be zipped up first, we have to find the outermost and innermost zip section. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory because you have these feed sections that go into the actual zipper itself. And again, there's no instructions with this, but I think a little common sense will be able to do just fine here. And it goes all the way down. And then on the other side, since the zipper on the sleeping bag was used for the other side, the zipper here is going to go to
the little feed piece. So locks in there. And again, I'm very pleased with the zips. I mean, this thing's all twisted up and it's not biting. It's going very, very well. Now this is the lighter of the two. I'm going to go ahead and put this inside the heavier, right at the foot. Try not to twist it. Have the baffle come out. And the outermost side zip, let me get that out of the way. See how easily it goes in, which is effortless. Now when you're installing your baffle, this will be the only time you have to really worry about this, and you should probably do it with everything laying down and not standing up the way I'm doing it now. Okay. Pull this around. It is a little snug here. I'm certain if I was laying the bag down, this would go a whole lot easier with things not being in the way. Okay. There it's in. Now let's see if it'll zip. Yes. Now you're feeling some weight now when you're hefting it around like this. Because it's a dead weight. it's a loose and floppy. Have a little bit of binding there. Oh, the reason being is that there is a Velcro baffle attachment for up here to go on the outside. So that will go in my pocket for now. And it's fully zipped. Yes, it's fully zipped. Like I said, it feels a little heavier now. Maybe not quite as heavy as a US sleep system without the bivy bag, but very comparable. Let's go ahead and lay it out and try it out. Okay. I will have to say, the US military sleep system, I really like the way that the individual components went together. I think that this baffle idea is brilliant. It's an ingenious idea. The US military sleep systems went together. It was a very straightforward, idiot-proof system, and it was all there all the time. There was no loose components that you needed to put the system together. Everything was in place. The snaps were in place to get it all together. The zips had baffles in them, things like that. So it was a good design too. Yeah. See how easily this zips up? Wow, it's got like a multi-layered baffle insulation in here, which is very good, very important, especially for extreme cold weather. Now, I personally think that I'll add some 550 cord to this just to get a little longer, and really for the baffle, I think the zipper needs to be heavier duty. I could very easily see, with as thin as this is, if you're having to pull it good and tight, especially when you have gloves on, you can't really feel it that well. Your dexterity is low from the cold or whatever. You might be able to put enough pressure on here to break that off, and then you might be in a little world of hurt. Let's see here. Bunching up a little bit on the baffle. Okay. Now I can still pull in the outer collar and still be able to access both of the draw cords for the hoods. And let's see. The baffles, you do need to adjust the baffle on the inside to get them to overlap one another. It doesn't fall immediately into place. There's no Velcro to hold them in place. At least not that I can feel. I was sort of concerned that it was actually going to feel more constrictive. But I don't notice any difference as far as my elbow room, which I don't like not having the elbow room in it, but for cold weather, you sort of want it snug. Okay. Let's try a rapid exit. It works. Works beautifully. I think that's an ingenious system, and by looking at it, the desert sand color isn't horrible against the multicam, but I think I will go with the olive, replace that, and eventually, just because I'm picky, yeah, I'm pleased. I'm pleased. I think this will be an excellent addition to my winter kit. Now I'm going to try to stuff it all inside the stuff sack, the large stuff sack. Now, even though I watched the video on how to pack this, you have to be standing to pack it. I'm going to be on my knees and feeding it in that way. I'm supposed to fold the bottom over, hold it in, put it inside. Now get your hand up inside of it. The loft is very springy. You shove it in, it wants to force itself back out. And of course, being on my heavy-duty space blanket, the nylon is particularly slippery. Like I said, this is the loft is very springy. It wants to force itself right back out again. And the baffle makes it very rigid to force it in. You can really feel the change in the baffle from the rest of the pack.
One nice thing about the U.S. military sleep system is that the bag is oversized, and not only do you have the vertical compression straps, you have horizontal compression straps that go around the sides as well. And so stuffing the system inside the compression bag is much easier than this was. Very small amount of purchase on the straps, and it's just a single fold over, which I would have definitely done at least another one, possibly even with a finger loop on there, so you can get your finger in there to pull it up. Now I could definitely cinch it down much more, but all that's going to happen is it's going to become this mutant shape, and that is that. Again, much smaller than the US sleep system, but definitely much more compact. I could probably do some comparisons and contrasts with this, but I'm going to save that for an actual review video. Now, even though this isn't a review video, there are a few specifications that I wanted to bring to your attention, and maybe do a little bit of comparison and contrast of those specifications with the U.S. Army sleep system and the Wiggy system I used to have. Now, first of all, the Snugpak Special Forces system, you've seen pretty much what's available with that, and I paid $629.95 for it, and it's regularly $779. At least that was the retail price it was given on the website I ordered it from. The U.S. sleep system, real quick, there's 5 components to it. There's a patrol bag, the extreme cold weather bag, it's a four-part system, the bivy cover, and the stuff sack. The patrol bag is rated at 40 degrees. 40 degrees, so that's the light bag, and it weighs 2 pounds 7 ounces. The intermediate bag is rated at -10 degrees, and that's Fahrenheit, and it weighs 3 pounds 14 ounces. Those seem like pretty heavy weights when you start looking at a lot of the down-filled sleeping bags and things like that are available for the camping community today. And the stuff sack weighs 13 ounces. The bivy bag cover is 1 pound 14 ounces. The whole system weighs 9 pounds. And you think, wow, that's a lot of weight. Well, yeah, especially if you compare it to modern lightweight sleeping bags, lightweight bivvies, things like that. But the durability of that thing is just absolutely amazing. Again, I got mine as a gift, so it didn't cost me a penny. With no bivvy on it, with no bivvy included, it was 7 pounds. So think about that. It's 7 pounds for the inner and outer bag and the compression bag. Just, we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Now, the Wiggy sleep system, the core bag, which is the colder temperature bag, was rated at 0 degrees. It weighed 4 pounds. The over bag, which on their system, the lighter weight bag goes on the exterior, was 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds, 2.5 pounds, and a total weight of 6.5 pounds. And it cost, right now, I think everything's on sale, $576.60. However, keep in mind, the bulkiness of it, the extreme cold weather portion of the system, was far bulkier than the military sleep system, which is pretty bulky. Now let's take a look at the Snugpak Special Forces Sleep System specifications. The Special Forces 1
And I like the way they do their temperature ratings. They have a comfort, which is a realistic, comfortable rating for you to feel comfortable in wearing just a base layer, a dry pair of socks, you know, basically your jammies. The comfort rating is 5 degrees Celsius, 41 degrees Fahrenheit. And the low rating, which means that you're still going to be chilly. You're not going to be comfortable, but you're not going to be frozen to death, is 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. The weight of the Special Forces 1 is 1,200 grams. It's 1.2 kilos, or 42 ounces. The Special Forces 2 temperature rating, comfort, is -7 degrees Celsius or 19 degrees Fahrenheit. The low, extreme low for it would be -12 degrees Celsius or 10 degrees Fahrenheit. The weight is 1,800 grams, almost 2 kilos, or 63 ounces. The Baffle weighs 280 grams or 10 ounces. The combined system has a comfort rating of -15 Celsius or 5 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not a sub-zero bag system. And the extreme low rating for it is -20 degrees Celsius or -4 degrees Fahrenheit. So, I mean, its survival rating is below zero. And here where I live, I mean, it's not uncommon to have, you know, multiple days in a row to where it's far below zero. So I'm going to have to come up with a plan B for those extreme cold weather systems that come through if I plan on camping those weekends, or find another, I guess, a modifier as far as my installation goes. I have, it's called a Thermarest reactor. It's a sleeping bag liner, but the thing is, it's like a great big sock. You have to get in it, stand in it, pull it up over you, then get in your sleeping bag. And you know, it's lightweight, it's compact, but you know, it's kind of a pain, especially when you need to get out in the middle of the night, go relieve yourself, get back in. I wish there was some way that, you know, there's some type of a zipper or something like that on it, but then you're going to be reducing the insulative value of that. Now, the combined weight of everything together is 3,200 grams, 3.2 kilos, or 113 ounces. That's 7.06 pounds. Okay, that's the outer bag, that's the inner bag, that's the Baffle. And those weights, I'm assuming, are including the stuff sacks. Okay, 7.06 pounds. The military sleep system without the bivy bag, the Gore-Tex bivy bag, is 7 pounds. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And if by any chance you wanted to make the investment and get the Special Forces bivy bag to be able to add with the system to be able to make it waterproof, or at least water resistant, the weight is 340 grams or 12 ounces, and which would up that combined system weight of the Special Forces complete sleep system to 7.93 pounds. And that's still a good bit lighter than 9 pounds for the complete system for the U.S. sleep system. And but I do believe it's probably a little less bulky. I've seen videos of the bivy bag, and literally it's in a pouch about like this. So it's absolutely tiny. But if you are thinking about, you know, looking into getting one of these, there's not a whole lot of videos out there. I tried to find some myself as far as good review videos. As soon as I get some field time in on mine, by spring, I will have used it enough to where I feel confident enough and honest enough to be able to provide a good review video at that time on this sleep system. And that way I get to put it through wearing and tearing. And this is going to be my sleep system that I'm going to be using throughout the winter. Just like my Firebox stove. That's going to be my dedicated stove for this winter. I'm not going to be using any other stoves. I might use different accessories with it, but that's the stove I'm going with. This is going to be the sleep system I'm going to be using throughout the winter, and you know, we'll see how it goes. So by spring, I should definitely have a good idea as to, you know, the quality and to be able to offer a good, honest review on it. Folks, that pretty much does it for my first ever unboxing video. And I've seen a few, and they are what they are. This is just the way I decided to do mine. Hopefully you found it a little bit more informative, other than just taking something out of the box as, I got this. Bye. Now, I did want to go through pretty much what I would have gone through at my home when I took it out of the box and played around with it a little bit, and just to, you know, see how the things go together. And I was able to do that and share it directly with you for the very first time. So you got my first impressions of it as I had them. And I think that's sort of the purpose of the unboxing video. At least, you know, that's what I think it should be anyway. Well, folks, I'm looking forward to putting this through its paces throughout the winter. And you're going to be able to see that as I go. I'm going to be posting videos throughout the winter, different types of camping situations. Going to spend a lot more time in a secret fun spot, and you'll be able to see how this performs as I see how it performs. And come the spring, we'll do a good proper review on this system. Well, folks, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.